All right, welcome, Angela.
Thank you,
Where are
Diana.
you right now?
Right now, I am in Germany, in fact, because I grew up in Germany, and I just for some days ago arrived in Germany, and I will be here in Germany at my brother's place for 2 months.
Yeah. And where do you usually live?
Usually, I'm living in northern Norway. It is about 1,800 kilometers north from Oslo, and that means north from the Arctic Circle. I'm living on an island called Senja. It is a big island, but it's a very remote area.
Beautiful. And you are a wonderful harpist, a very creative person. In addition to your harping, which we're going to talk about, and other instruments that you play as well, you've had a whole other career. Could you say a little bit about that?
Yes, I can say something about that. I have always had different interests. I have had interests in animals, especially horses, and music since I was very small. And I always followed these two paths in a way. And when I should choose education, I choose to become a veterinarian. And I did that, and that brought me to Norway because I was there as a student and I was doing practical things, learning practical things in Norway. And then I worked as a vet in clinical practice on farms and things like that for some years. And then I chose to go more into the direction of systematic, use the knowledge I have as a vet for a little bit more systematic things. That was both food health and animal welfare. And there I worked in state organizations doing surveillance and these things.
Wow.
And then I went over from having to do with animals to have to do with people, and I was working in the surveillance for working conditions for people for 9 years. And the last, I think, 15 or years, I had role as a leader in these organizations. Yeah.
Marvelous work. And during that time, were you also involved with music the entire time?
Yes, I was always involved in music, but I didn't. It was so normal for me. I didn't recognize it in a way, but when I look back at letters I wrote and so I recognize I always have been doing different kind of music.
How did you balance that?
That is a good question. I don't really. Do you think balance when you are thinking of time or things like that? Um, I just this music thing has always been a place for me to uh, relax and to find energy. I think when I have 3 children, I have five in fact altogether, but I have three I've born myself. And when they were small, I always, for example, when they were playing outside, I just sat with them and were playing my instrument. I
Mm,
always found places where I could
yeah.
play anyway.
Yeah. I've noticed that for some people, they have felt like, oh, well, now is sort of career time. I don't have time for my creativity. But it almost feels like, from what you're describing, when you engaged with your creativity, not to say that you weren't creative in your job because you were,
Yes, yeah,
but when you were engaged with your art form, it actually gave you more energy.
yes. For me, and it's not that I'm not a very all. Yes, I'm organized maybe, but it's never that that I said this day at this day from our so I want to play, but I just played. I
Hmm.
just found these possibilities. And for example, when we were on holidays, I always had instruments with me.
Mm.
And my husband said he had to tie the piano so that I didn't take it with me. And I brought the instrument. My children were playing a little bit, not for many years, but I brought the instrument then too. I think it must be that I needed it.
Hmm. It seems to me that you've really stayed in touch with the fun aspect of making music. You haven't let it become a stressful thing or a thing that has become sort of a source of judgment for you. I remember back in the day, I used to be worried about my practice sometimes because I was worried that I wouldn't live up to what I wanted to sound like in my own practice. But it sounds like you stayed very in touch with the joyful and inspirational aspects.
Maybe, but I have in my family there are quite a lot of professional musicians too, and I never was one of these very, very good musicians. And then I think I found the fun when I started playing folk music, and also I have been playing a lot for dancing, Norwegian folk dance. And when you're playing for dance, the people are not really interested in you as the musician because it's just a function. You have to give the rhythm and the music to the dancers. But that is a very nice way to play and to relax in a way. At the same time, you get a lot of interesting feedback about rhythm and tempo and things like that.
Hmm. Yeah, I wanted to ask, what are the types of music that you play, and what are the instruments that you play?
I started playing the recorder, and I know that many people hate the recorder and think it is not a good instrument, but I loved the recorder, and I am, in fact, quite good playing recorder. I have also been playing concerts with people in churches and things like that at some time, baroque music, and I love this old music. Um, and then I started because I wanted to play to the Norwegian folk dance. I had a very short time of mandolin playing, but that was not long. But then I started on the accordion to play for the Norwegian folk music. And and then in 2006, through this dancing group, I came to Ireland. I had been in Ireland in 1974. I was 18 years then, but I came back in 2006 and started with the course of taking a whistle playing course. And that was not so difficult for me because I was good at the recorder and I just could switch over. So, and then I recognized that I could be playing in sessions if I learned a lot of tunes. So I had 2 years where I really were learning tunes. I was doing it all the time, and then I came back and I could join into sessions. And
Yeah.
that was wonderful. And then my brother, in Germany, he's also playing Irish music and his wife, and we started in the same year without knowing about each other, knowing that. That was very crazy. So we are doing this together a lot. But then I came back. I started then also to play the cello. I was playing a little bit classical music, but I did not have a teacher. It was very much fun. But I was also playing and playing, playing. But then I listened to harps in Ireland, and a special one evening, and I was haunted by it. So I asked my brother, "Do you think it is crazy if I start playing the harp?" "Yes," he said, "but you should do it." And I bought myself a harp. That is 10 years ago, and I started playing, and that was the best thing I have done.
I love it. I love hearing you play, and you have your own compositions as well, in addition to your arrangements. So I'm struck also by how much community is involved in the music making that you describe. You talk about playing for dances and playing in sessions. And I know a major reason that you joined our circle was for community. Can you speak a
Yeah,
little bit about how creativity and community intersect for you?
yeah. Um, when before I started in the circle, I thought maybe there's something wrong with me because I need this community. And I need other people to play with. And I also have a desire to share what, for example, music I have learned or music I have made. And I thought that is a little bit self-importance or things like that. So I was not comfortable with it in a way. But then I understood when joining the circle that it is okay. And I'm interested in some other philosophic things. And there we have had a discussion about, I have asked other people, I am in which polarity I am when I am playing music with others. Is it the male or the female? And then I found out somebody said to me, and I think that's true, when I'm accompanying, then I am in a female polarity in a way because I support the rest.
The
But
re-
when I'm
yeah.
playing up to a tune,
Mhm.
Then I'm in the male polarity. I like both of these things, and it is communication, it is relations, but it is yes, it is not through our rational mind, but it is in a way from heart to heart, and I love that very much.
Yeah, yeah. In our system, we correlate community with the element of spirit because there
Yeah,
is this mysterious quality and energy of connection that happens that
yes,
really can't be described just by the brain.
yeah,
Much
I
as we
agree.
love, all that rational stuff and
Yeah,
theory, and, we get a huge kick out of those things, there is also this essential quality, a spiritual quality, really, of communing with other people. And it doesn't mean spiritually religious in particular. It could be, that you don't believe in anything
yes,
religiously, but there is an energy that gets generated from that community that is actually essential, as you were mentioning. And sometimes we feel like, oh, I shouldn't need community. I should be just strong on my
yeah,
own. And what's
yeah.
my problem? Why do I feel like I need it? But, I think we've come to find that it's actually essential to have it.
Yes, it is. For me, it isn't. And now I think I can say it, and it can be comfortable to say, yeah, I need it. And I think also we get a lot of very, very special and very nice relations to other people through playing music together.
Yeah, it's a very unique way of communicating,
It
right?
is.
Yeah, yeah. And I
It is
think,
also because it's also that you have to listen. I mean, you can't just play. And I have experienced this in sessions. You have some people who are just doing their things, but they wouldn't become very popular. But the nice thing is, oh yes, there's a guy who's playing the guitar. He uses other chords than me. Oh, what does that mean? And then I love that.
yes, yeah. It's a very deep form of communication with people. It
Yeah.
feels to me, and
Mm.
it goes beyond sort of more surface
Yeah.
issues. So, for example, right now we're in a very uh, fiery time,
Yeah.
and people are very, disconnected with each other, arguing, all this kind of stuff. And you wonder, how can people come back together at this point? Something like music is a way to connect, regardless of all those other things, and to connect in a very genuine way.
I agree. Maybe I should say one thing more, and that's when some years ago, it's 4 years ago now, I also took this IHTP education as a therapeutic musician. And for the first, I learned a lot of improvising, and that also made me more confident to compose some tunes. But it also taught me a lot about this awareness and also this connecting with people, playing for people, feeling what do they need. And that gave me a very big input that helped me with my purpose.
Hmm.
That in a way, that then I understood what my purpose, what music, that was a part of it, what my purpose is. And yeah.
Yeah. Would you feel comfortable sharing what your purpose is?
Yes, yeah, I can do that. And I just have to say, when we should define our purpose, I was I was not struggling, but I was thinking, what is it?
So
But
this is
then,
step one of our whole system.
yes, but then Casey Reed Jones, she said she could help us to make a picture, to visualize it. And for me, that was crazy because when she said that, then I recognized I had a picture. Already had a picture. And when
Absolutely.
I looked at that picture, I know what my purpose is. And that is it, the picture is me in an oval circle with lots of music symbols around. And these symbols, for me, is it like a semi-permeable membrane where um, connection or relation go out of it from me to the world around me and the other way. And for me, uh, music is the purpose is to connect with myself, because when I am playing, I find back to myself and feeling well. It is to connect with the world around, both people and the world as it is. And the third thing is music protecting me.
Mm.
And that is a very important thing, because I had when I took this education, I had a time in my work at my work which was very hard, and I really did not feel well at all. And then I experienced that when I was that music could help me to survive. And when it was too bad, I just had a melody in my head and I sang it in my head. Nobody could see that, and then I was fine.
You were using healing music on yourself.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So healing music, yeah, is definitely a form of community. So the therapeutic music as part of community. Sorry about the drill going.
It's okay.
This is life. It
No,
happens. We
it is love. No
improvise.
problem for me.
Thank you. Yeah. So purpose, you already had it. And this is something that's so important about our system, is that your purpose is not something you go outside to look for. You actually go inside and find it, that it's already there.
Yeah, I loved that. For me, that was a very good and great experience about finding the purpose. And I understand now, as you said, when I have my purpose, that makes it much easier to play and also to find out what will I do and what don't have to do. I love it. It is really important.
Yeah.
But thank you. I never would have found out that on myself, I think, but I found it through the circle, and that was very important for me.
Thank you. Yeah, I wrote down actually to go back and look at your picture again, because the first time I saw your purpose picture, I was so moved by it. It's just a beautiful thing. So yeah, your purpose can be more visual. It could be a sound. It could be a sensation. A lot of people, it is a written statement, but it certainly doesn't have to be,
Yeah,
because everybody's different. Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. So, I just love how you also are always learning. You took up the harp 10 years ago. You've already got such a huge backlog of education and experience. And at the same time, you keep learning anyway, because you just seem to love the process of learning itself.
Yes, I do, and I believe that we never must stop learning. I had a father who he learned philosophical things until he died, and was reading new things, and I it is something to develop ourselves, and I mean life is very exciting, and uh, it is never boring.
Hmm. Yeah, you're inspiring me. I'm writing things down.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah. So yeah, just to summarize, I love how you really kept in touch with your inspiration and the reason that you make music, so that you kept it fun. It did not become a burden or a place of fear or a place of judgment for you. You kept that front and center always. I'm very struck by that. I don't know if you want to add anything about that.
Yes, I just can say I have been working on that too, because I know this feeling that even in Ireland, I had a lot of people suddenly come and people I have been admiring, they say, "Oh, I feel I'm not good enough." And then I thought, what is this about? And I do not want to have that approach. So in a way, I am stopping it actively in me. I do not want to have that approach. Music is not a competition for me. Music is a very important thing for my life, but it is not, and that is with a purpose. If I want to make impress others, then I get nervous and I am playing a lot wrong. But when I am, it's terrible.
Yeah, same for
But
me.
when, but when I can say I love to play music, I want to give this feeling to others, then it works.
I really think that is actually the key to working past performance anxiety, which I think is one of the very worst problems that musicians face. And then it's a type of creative block as well that other creatives experience as well, or even writing an email and someone's just too afraid, to
Yeah.
say what it is they need to say or make that step
Mm.
in their business or whatever it is. This sense of really being beholden to what is outside you rather than letting it come from the inside. And when you let it come from the inside and it's coming from a place of purpose, you just feel excited to share it. But if
But you
you're,
have learned, you have a very big part. I have been working on that before I met the circle, but it was so good to read it and to experience it and to learn it and to hear it from you. And it is, I also believe that is important, because I was wondering why I am not, do not have anxiety when I'm playing in a nursing home. But when I am playing for other musicians, then it's terrible. And then I have found out that must be something with this, that when I'm playing in the nursing home, I want that these people there have a good time. It's
yes,
not important what is
you're
with me.
so
It's
focused
totally
on that.
uninteresting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
then it's fine.
Yeah.
So I
Exactly.
have tried to take that into my playing. I have done, as you gave me this tip to play in the coffee shop. I've done it sometimes now, and that was great. It works.
I love it. Yeah, yeah. When we're so excited about our purpose that when we're in touch with it, then we just want to share it, without any type. We don't have fear because I actually feel the fear, although it can feel overwhelming, is very, very small compared to your purpose. Like I visualize the purpose as being this
Yeah, I
super
see. Yeah.
grand and beautiful thing. And when we bring that in, purpose is like the head of a pin. And we're like, oh, sorry, fear is like the head of a pin. You're like, that's nothing, you know? So,
It's very good.
yeah, wonderful. And another theme, of course, that you're having is the idea of lifelong learning. It's not like, oh, I graduated college. This is it. No more learning for me. I turned 40. No more learning for me. Whatever. None of that. I mean,
No.
one of my greatest teaching experiences was starting this wonderful woman at 83 years old to play the harp. She had always
Great.
wanted to play the harp, and she'd had a wonderful long marriage with her husband. He passed away. She had to work through the grief for about 5 years. And as she was coming out of that grief, she was like, I always dreamed about playing the harp. And she contacted her cousin, who was a conductor, and said, do you know any harpists? And he said, actually, I do. And she lives 2 blocks away from you. And so I would go over to her house, and she had very, very bad performance anxiety because she used to be a very serious classical pianist.
Yeah.
And within a year and a half, she was putting her harp in her car. Now, usually she'd bring the harp out and somebody would notice, so they'd help her, on the street. But sometimes she'd do it all on her own. She would drive it to the hospital. She would play in the lobby with complete purpose and joy. And she was a massive inspiration to me. Very sadly, she
Yes.
passed away at 86, and a lot of her funeral was describing about what the harp had done for her, in that it was her companion and her way of expressing herself. And people felt they got to know her even more. Her children were like, we saw a side of our mother that we didn't know was in there, and she was
Yes.
amazing enough already. And then all this came out. Wow. So yeah, at any
Wonderful.
age, yeah,
Mm.
we can do this. And then the other part is community. That,
Mm.
community is nothing to feel like, oh, I shouldn't need community, or I should just stand on my own. And no, I think, we learn so much from each other. We inspire each other so much. And it's just a joyful thing to
It is.
share.
It is. But you have been very good at creating a culture that is supportive and good. And I do not know how you started to do that, but I really enjoy it. It is very important. I hope it will stay like this,
Yeah.
because it is so good to really help and support each other, and it works.
Yeah.
I think
Thank you.
it is working. Yeah,
Yeah,
very good.
yes, it's very deliberately cultivated culture,
Mm,
and it's based on all the principles that we work on. Coming from a place of heart, coming
mm,
from a place of direct experience. So
mm.
people, sorry again, the drill. People only share from direct experience. So, for instance, that's why we don't have any outside links in the group, because that's where
Yes.
hearsay
Yeah.
comes and all these like
Yeah.
rumors and this and that. It's like, no, just speak from your direct experience, because number one, we want that richness of
Yeah.
direct experience. And number two, we want that quality of information, that it was
Yeah.
direct from you and it wasn't just something that we heard on the internet. So yeah, coming
That
from
is
heart,
important. Yeah.
yeah, heart and direct experience. And from there, I mean, we're really living from our purpose. And when we do that, we are our best selves and great things just come out. I feel
It
like
is.
when people are acting, mean or disrespectful, which does not happen in our circle, but when they do in the outside world, I don't feel it's the real them. I don't think that's
No.
truly them, and I just have that as an article of faith.
Yeah, we live in the positive. I do like that too. It's the
Yeah,
only way for me because I can't believe in the very bad. I can't.
right.
I do not
Yeah,
want to
I'm
do it.
with you. I'm
Yeah.
with you. Well, I feel that's the perfect note to wrap up on. Thank you again, Angela, for sharing all your just beautiful experience, your wisdom, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the journey as it continues.
Thank you for listening. That's very nice too. Thank you.
Yeah, my
Okay.
pleasure. Bye for
Bye.
now.